Hey good people of the YouTube, this is Bear of Sinai. Today I would like to show you two Enfield rifles. One of them is the Enfield SMLE No. 4 Mark I, which in my opinion was the best rifle in the family of the Second World War era. This was the typical British rifle. And the other one is the Enfield Ishapore, or the RFI Enfield Ishapore 2A1. RFI stands for Rifle Factory Ishapore, which is in West Bengal in India, and that was the original British arms and ordnance factory since the end of the 19th century in India. The rifle closer to us is the British Enfield. Actually it's a Canadian long branch. It's very easy to tell the two apart from each other. First of all, the muzzle is different. There is the muzzle cap on the Indian rifle, and the muzzle is exposed on the British rifle. The magazines are rounded off on the British rifle, and let me pan around, is square on the Indian rifle. I prepared a small summary sheet of the most important data of the two rifles. I hope they will show on YouTube as well. So basically just a very short data sheet about the two rifles. The British Enfield, the Lee-Enfield No. 4 Mark I, was manufactured in Great Britain and all around the British Empire. This one is a long branch from Canada, which means that it has the beautiful bronze butt plate and not some cheaper zinc or aluminium alloy butt plate. Because of war reasons, of course, to ramp up production and cut costs, these bronze butt plates were a thing of the past in the 40s, early 40s. Both of the rifles have a long service history. Well, the British one served actually since the end of the 19th century, the Lee-Enfield SMLEs, for more than 60, 70, 80 years or so, and still they are in service with the Canadian Border Patrol. The Enfield was manufactured in '63, and it is a good question, why on earth would anyone manufacture a bolt-action repeating firearm in the middle of the 20th century? The reason was to have a stopgap rifle, because India has voted for the FNFAL, but they could not retool and re-equip their factories fast enough to ramp up production, so they needed a stopgap rifle, and this rifle was manufactured in 308 Winchester, or actually 7.62 by 51 NATO, which is very logical because the FNFAL was the same round. So basically you have a rifle capable of the same rounds. And actually, about the Ishapore rifle, the Indian army was no fool. They were not messing around. They actually wanted the rifle which they can use in the hill regions, mountain regions of India, like in the Himalayas and Kashmir. I mean, of course they have neighbors like Pakistan, so they got tense relations. And these rifles are absolutely reliable. They will never jam like a semi-auto in extreme colds. So these rifles are actually very good choice in case of a high mountainous region, where, by the way, the ranges of contact, I mean the ranges of encounters and military shootouts are usually more than 100 yards. So in that case, a bolt-action rifle with its slower rate of fire but higher accuracy is quite a reasonable choice. Anyhow, back to the short sheet. So both of the rifles are around 44 inches. There is a hair of a difference. The Enfield is a little bit longer. The barrel length is 25 inches in both cases. Their weight is quite different. The Enfield is a heavy rifle with more than 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds almost, but the Ishapore is even heavier, 10 pounds and 5 ounces. So the Ishapore is one of the heaviest bolt-action rifles I've ever had. The magazine capacity is 10 for the British and 12 for the Indian rifle, which is, in my opinion, a very good it's a very good thing for the Indian rifle, sorry, because having more rounds at the start of an encounter or a shootout is of course more than a lifesaver. The caliber is 303 British with the number 4 Mark 1 and the 7.6255 NATO with the Indian counterpart. Basically, there is no big difference between the two rounds. One of them performs at 3,265 joules and the other is 3,506 joules. These are 174 military ball ammos fired from a 24-inch test barrel. So there is a slight performance edge for the Indian rifle. But this is not significant, it's less than 10%. However, the felt recoil with the 303 British is very low. So it's a mild recoil rifle. It's very good to shoot for younger shooters or even women. So if you want to take out your wife or girlfriend to catch on shooting military firearms, the 303 British Enfield is a very good choice because the recoil is much milder than on an average military bolt action firearm. So it will build up confidence and won't kick anybody too hard. So, but still, it's a full power military cartridge. So it's not in any way, shape or form insulting to say that my wife is shooting a 303 British. It's an excellent round. Both of them are capable of achieving kills for 800 or even more meters or 900 yards. So these are not messing around. The greatest difference between the two rifles in the point of usability or performance is the sights. Let's make a close-up. The sights are front post in both cases, protecting by huge ears, which is an excellent idea. And they can be adjusted with this small sight adjustment tool right here. So there is no difference in the front or the business end of the rifle. Okay, but there is a big difference at the end of the receiver, because while the British counterpart has an excellent aperture sight with great, very fine adjustment capabilities with these small screws, you can adjust it in a very fine manner. And also you have a short range combat sight, combat aperture sight. So all in all, it's pretty easy to tell that the British rifle, I hope you can see it, that the British rifle is much more capable of precise target shooting. There it is, than its Indian counterpart. An aperture sight, for me at least, means that my groups are at least half an inch or an inch tighter in the 100 meter or 110 yards range. So this gun is shooting sub-MOA. The Indian rifle has a much more simple back leaf sight, the usual military arrow. And also a great difference is the sight radius. Very important in the question of accuracy is the sight radius. It's approximately a good 66 centimeters on the British rifle and only approximately 50 centimeters on the Indian rifle. So it has a much shorter sight radius. You can tell it on the video as well, that the sight of the Indian rifle is actually like in the first quarter of the receiver, and the sight of the British rifle is much farther away. It was a very good idea to put the sight at the end of the receiver. You have another good 25 centimeters or 10 inches or so. So the sight radius is 10 inches longer at least with the English rifle, which helps great deal with the accuracy. Let's talk about the bayonets. No military rifle is complete without a bayonet. This version of the British Enfield uses the so-called spike, which as a doctor's point of view, Of course, I'm not a physician, but biologically speaking, this spike is not really good for killing people, because with this sharp point it will puncture a small hole. When in case of a bayonet or any kind of knife fight, the larger blade means that you have a bigger chance, in case of a stab wound, that you actually hit a major artery or major blood vessel. And what causes death in cases of knife fights is bleeding out. So rapid blood pressure loss and bleeding out. So for that reason, this bayonet is much better for killing people. I'm sorry to say so, but these are military firearms, so they were designed to kill people after all. But on the other hand, this spike is much better suited for killing zombies. Yes, I said that, zombies, because of this spike is guaranteed to penetrate a hard object such as a skull. How to mount the bayonets is very easy. I'm going to put down the camera. Okay, there we go. Of course, both rifles are safety checked. And like that, it's mounted. And of course, the Indian rifle. Here we have this bayonet lug and the other bayonet lug at the bottom of the rifle. Press the button and push it home. There. So now the bayonets are mounted, the zombies can come whenever they like. We are ready for them. Feeding the rifles, in both cases they were using stripper clips. However, there is a major difference in the design of the stripper clips. The British design is much better in my opinion. Both of the stripper clips are considered to be flyaway stripper clips. Sorry, I was messing with the camera. Which means that upon loading the rifle, you don't need to manually discard of the stripper clip, but you just close the bolt and it will fly away.